What if you could automate an enterprise class task as quickly as you could explain it? To demonstrate this, I'm going to automate my own thought leadership content on social media because I don't have time to do it myself, at least not consistently. Well, the challenge is I need content that's well researched and then presented through my unique perspective. And that's a hard thing for AI to do at the level of quality that I need. We're going to cover this in 3 simple steps, which you can use to automate virtually anything. And of course, this is the abbreviated version. So step number 1 is to log into Protostar and then explain what you want to your architect. So I'm just going to paste it here, a prompt that I prepared. I need daily social media posts that focus on new developments in artificial intelligence, and I want the content to be presented in a way that I would write it through my unique perspective. I want to create name recognition, and so when people meet me, I want them to feel like they already know me, so put my photograph in every post, and then let's create this new project inside the organization named Test New Ideas Collection. So the organization is just a container or a collection of projects that are related. Call our new projects AI Perspective with Benny Traub. And by the way, all of this has been productionized, posts daily for me, creates custom images, writes detailed assessments on the market through my personal lens and my perspective, taking a lot of the weight and the burden off me because I just didn't have time to do this. And so I'm really happy to have this going now, and I'm going to recommend it to all my team members. To start with that, I'm going to click go, and it will now transform my raw idea into an agent readable or agent executable plan. We refer to this as an execution plan. And generally, it'll come back and ask a few clarifying questions before it sets all this up. There they are. Great questions to nail down before we build this out. Which social media platforms? I'd like all of those. I'd probably add Pinterest to this. Do you want to review and approve each post? I would think to begin with, at least, I will say yes. And who else should review? I don't need anybody else to review. So let me type these out. There we have it. I'll answer those questions. Okay, the architect has come back and said he's drafted a 5-task daily workflow plan, and it passes all quality checks. Can't verify it automatically, at least the daily repeating schedule, but it does include that, all the steps. And should I go ahead and set this up as is? So basically, he's got the plan. I'll go yes. Yes, proceed. And as you can see, he's still working on it. He says he'll notify you when he has an update, and you can be notified through a comment in the platform or through a pop-up on your screen. He can send to your phone a push notification. You can even make a phone call to your phone if it's urgent. You can see that it drafted the daily AI Perspectives milestone, and here's what's inside the daily workflow: research, draft, image, review, publish, and there's a link to open it, and so it's already open. Now you get to see what's inside, what an execution plan actually looks like. And these fields and this exact structure is all configured automatically for you. And this part here is the actual prompt component. And as you can see, there's task 2, task 3, task 4, and task 5. And so your job now, this is the hard part really, is the testing and tuning, because you can activate this immediately. Just change the status to active and it'll fire automatically. And by the way, this status, this configuration is what's required in order to run in the dark. You don't need all this if you're just talking to your assistant, the ASA, and telling them to do things. But when you want an entire project to run like a dark factory where there's no humans in the loop, it's purely agent work, then you do need the structure. That's how they keep track of each other. I can already see that there's a deficiency here. It's going to be drafting posts and creating images. Well, where's it going to store these images? It's got to store them somewhere, and typically it would save them in a task folder. And Just show you the structure over here. Organizations is a collection of projects. Projects are a collection of milestones. Milestones are a collection of tasks, and tasks are what we're looking at here. And in order to keep your files, for the agents to keep their files organized, they typically will create a folder at every level, and at the organization level, project, milestone, and at the milestone level. So this is the milestone level. You can see there's no folder here. So what we'd want to do is, if you wanted to create those folders, if they don't already exist, you can add another. You could either copy and paste all this above and then renumber your tasks and have your first one say, create folders. But what I'll do is I'll just tell the architect to do that. Okay, I just typed out a prompt, add another task at the top to have the ASA check if there's an org folder, and if not, create one, then create a project folder under that and a milestone folder under that, save the folders to the correct locations, e.g. project folder to the project, etc. And I'll just click go. Okay, it's back with the update. As you can see, it's now got a new task one here, set up Google Drive folders for the org, project, and milestone. The architect was able to write out all the technical details in a way that the agents can understand. It organizes it according to the sequence and the order of things. If there's conditions and so on, it'll add those. And if it's a recurring, it'll add that kind of commentary. But now comes the tough part, which is where the labor comes in, where you click active, you run it, you look at the results, and then you come back to your architect and you tell it to tweak it. And you do that iteratively in this safe test environment. And you just keep doing that until you're happy with the output. And then when you are happy with the output, you're going to turn this into a template. And essentially what you do is you come over here to the project and you copy it. And we're going to put it inside an organization called template projects. So I'm going to copy it. And once you've got a template project, it can be triggered any number of ways by your agents when they deem that it's necessary to trigger it. After a bunch of iterations on the execution plan, this actually did get productionized, and this is what the production version actually looks like. As you can see, lots of detail, multiple tasks. Look at all that. And the autonomous solutions architect can help define all that, but really it's going to come down to the human to determine what they really need and what they really want. And I had very particular ideas, and then after I tested this, I thought it was so good I wanted my team members to be able to use it as well. And then that's just the execution plan. This is the production record of that execution plan. So for example, generate content assets for the news stories. And this was, I decided to do this weekly instead of daily. So where it would just come up with a bunch of story ideas, put them in a story log, and then prioritize them with a score, pick the top 5 for that week, and then generate the content, the headline. I want it to be scroll stopping, rules for the image, typography rules, caption rules, hashtag rules, and then I wanted all the outputs logged to the content log spreadsheet. So step number 1, you enter your ideas into the architect. The architect then translate those ideas into an execution plan that's readable by the agents, by the dark agents, meaning they can work without human supervision. And then once you're happy with the results after some iterations and tuning of the details here, then you convert this into a template, and then that template can be used in production. So any manager or anybody else can come in and just ask questions and get insights into what is actually happening. This is perhaps the quickest way to convert a enterprise class task that's being performed by a human or humans into an autonomous lights out workflow that can be managed entirely by agents with or without humans in the loop.